Walk me through how many people are you resupplying and how does that work?
Actually, I'm only resupplying 16 people. So there's actually 8 hikers, considering how many thousands of hikers are out there. I'm helping 16, 8 regularly order every single week. So the others kind of order sporadically based on if there's like absolutely nothing there, then I send a box. Others have, one has celiac, one has another peanut allergy, all those kinds of things. So they actually need boxes every single week. And on a busy day, I'm making 100 meals. So I
Holy crap.
underestimated how much work it's going to be. So I'm actually hiring a business manager for the membership side of things so I can focus on this 100% of the time because it's turning into something massive that I really enjoy doing, especially being a dietitian. I prefer to be in the kitchen than behind my computer. So it's something that's growing a lot faster than I thought it would.
Yeah, that's actually super interesting. So you're saying you've got 8 like every week, and then let's say half of the other ones are ordering every week. So you're only making meals for 12 people, right?
Essentially, right.
Per week, let's say. So,
Right.
and that's, I mean, how much time does that take to do that?
I thought it would be 15 hours a week, but it's closer to 40 because I didn't take into account the amount of my poor postal carrier. I didn't take into account all the shipments coming in,
Uh-huh.
just opening up things, putting away inventory, breaking down boxes, all those kind of things I didn't take into account. And then also my particular style of meal planning, I make everything freezer bags. So I do them all individually. I forgot dishes. I didn't take into account actually doing dishes. So I've learned a lot of
Wow.
tricks throughout the way of kind of being more time efficient, but it's not just my meals. Essentially, I'm doing everything that you would do for yourself. So I'm ordering bars, I'm shipping puffy coats, micro spikes back and forth. So anything that needs to go
Oh,
to
wow.
resupply box, it's a resupply coordination. I do everything that you need. So I've got quite a few international hikers that don't have someone here locally. So I'm getting a lot of gear back and forth and that kind of thing. So just is a lot more than I anticipated, but I love it. So I'm
Are
actually excited to
there
get away from the computer.
are there people out there providing a service like this? Are you like the one and only?
I'm the one and only that I know about doing the full service. There are
Mhm.
other food companies that do kind of pre-made resupply boxes, but the reason why I was interested in this is it's a pay-as-you-go. So if I can buy it, you can have it. So like I was saying, that if you've got some kind of food allergy or those kind of things, I buy specifically for you, which is another reason why it takes time. Is every single box is unique. So every hiker has their own unique order form that they can order separately. Whereas other companies, you order a single box, you may not like the 3 bars that are in it, but that's what you get, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
just the limited variety, but there's nobody else doing all the other shipping gear and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we're a little bit different, Aaron, because when you're talking about like membership site versus like in the kitchen, like my first thought was like, oh yeah, work on the membership site. You're like, I want to be in the
I know,
kitchen,
I want to be in the
and
kitchen.
then and then you're like talking about like all this coordination and like that is probably my biggest obstacle when it comes to just trips in general is like getting into the nitty gritty of the details. I don't like getting into the nitty gritty. I get overwhelmed and timing of supply box. Like I
Mhm.
don't even have a through hike on my radar right now that would need resupplies. And that already is like, that's, I don't know. I don't know if I could handle like resupply boxes and trying to time resupply. Like that is to me like this logistical and detail nightmare. And that's like your wheelhouse. And
Right.
it's super fascinating because I think that there are a lot of things that I miss out on because I'm not good at those details. Like I'll get on trail and I'll be like, I hate this food and I packed it again. Like, why did
Mhm.
I do that? Or, fill in the blank. And actually on a recent um, live stream we were doing with our 100-mile challenge group, I had just mentioned that I bring about 3,500 calories per day to eat because usually I don't want to eat any more calories than that. Even though I'm a 200-pound, 6'2" guy, like, and I could probably, I'm sure I'm burning more than 3,500 calories on
For
some of
sure.
these days, but it's just like I just don't want to eat it. And also the weight of my food gets too high, and you're like, oh, you could do better than that. You could be in the for
This is
so
my specialty. This is what I'm good at.
yeah. So I want to be the guinea pig here, and I hope everyone else learns from this. But like, what am I doing wrong, and how should I be approaching this to get more calories in my bag and not be at a penalty of either taste or weight, because that's the big thing is some of the things what happened is I was packing 4,500 calories, and the like last 1,000 calories or whatever, actually not even that. It was just, I was packing things that were very high calorie per ounce. And I'd get out on trail and I'd be like, I don't want to eat that. Like, yeah, it's nutritionally, it's good, but I'm 10 hours into this day of hiking and that just looks horrible. Right. So then I dialed back. I'm like, you know what, as long as I want to eat it, I'm more happy with what I bring. And so then I basically kept the same weight of how much food I'm bringing on trail and just reduced the amount of calories in the name of taste and things that I'd want to eat. So I personally take about, I'll say an average of like 1.7 pounds, 1.8 pounds of food per day. And I'm usually in about the 3,500 calorie per ounce or 3,500 calories per day worth of food. So what am I doing wrong here? Where can I improve? What do I need to be looking at?
Well, there's two things I can talk about. So the first one is a super easy thing to do, as I've been long distance hiking for a while now. I hate bars. I just can't eat them anymore. So what I've done is made meal replacement drinks. So it's a full meal in 8 ounces of water. And that's actually one of the things I'm making so much of. That's actually what I'm doing in the kitchen right now is I made 25 different green smoothies. As you can get an entire meal with carbs, protein, fiber, fat, everything in it. And I actually keep them in my hip belt pocket now to where I pull it out, add some water in, shake it up in the baggie, drink, and I keep moving. So if you've gotten to where you just don't want to eat the food anymore, especially if you're at altitude, when I did the Colorado Trail, I lost my appetite completely for over 200 miles. And I love to eat. This is what I do for a living. So it was really I was worrisome. I was like, wow, like I have zero interest in food. So that's what I lived off of. I had one solid meal per day and the rest of it were all my meal replacement drinks. I never hit the wall. I didn't lose weight. I ended up dehydrated because I was sick, but it could have been so much worse had I not done that. So that's one easy thing to do is kind of thinking about shakes. And they're all just powder. You add it in a baggie and I mean, you're done in a couple minutes to make them. So that's one thing.
Looking at that. I was looking at that on your website last night. In like the ultra running world, what I found when I ran my first ultra last year was that the liquid calories did go down the easiest and best. And they use this product called cluster dextrin. It's basically just a carbohydrate that's super easy to digest, but I don't think it's very good like calorie per ounce or anything like that. And then when you said green drinks, or is that I thought you said
I did a green. Yeah, I'm working on a green smoothie right now for today.
Like greens typically aren't high calorie per ounce. So how are you working in that? Because when I was looking on your website, I saw like a breakfast. What is it called? Breakfast carnation or something?
Chai breakfast drink.
Yeah,
There's
it was like a breakfast chocolate milk that anyways, that one, like I could see like, okay, but when you're talking about greens, like how are you getting calories into like greens very well?
So this is where the next part is I look at, and I'm an ultralight backpacker like you guys. So I look at combination foods is what I really focus on. And what I mean by that is each gram of the food has carbs, protein, and fat in every single bite. So you're really maximizing the amount of food that's going in. So that's where I've developed what I call ultralight meal planning. I made it up. But essentially that's ultralight meal planning. So essentially what it is by maximizing every single bite, you ultimately carry lower volume of food because it's more calorically dense. You carry lower weight because it's calorically dense, but you're also getting your carbs and your protein, all you think for recovery and, keeping your glycogen stores up, all those things. So that's where, like you're saying, your 3,500 calories, you might be doing high calorie dense foods, but you may be missing out on the carbs and the protein you need, that kind of thing. So it's more than just calorically dense things, especially some of those are really oily and they just don't taste very good. So that's one of the things I really focus on too, is taking what I eat normally at home and turning that into backpacking food. Instead of going from eating normal food to now you're eating this food you would never ever eat at home, because you're like, well, I know the traditional hiker foods are like Pop-Tarts, honey buns, that kind of stuff. So sure, they might be calorically dense, but they're not going to do what they need to traditionally or nutritionally rather. So that's what I call is the combination foods. So something like one of my examples is kind of like a typical hiker lunch, tuna, a tortilla, cheese stick, or something like that, and making a wrap out of it. So your tuna is primarily your protein. There's no fat, no carbs. So now to get those, you have to have the tortilla. And then to get some fat, maybe you have some cheese or mayo packet or that kind of thing. So those you have to eat separately. But if you eat something like a hummus, it has carbs, protein, and fat all together. So I actually did some math, and I teach a ultralight meal planning class. And if you were to do tuna for 5 days in a row, hummus for 5 days in a row, you actually save the weight of a beer can just because it's so much lower volume, because hummus has all this in it. It's calorically dense and nutritionally dense that I was shocked by. I was like, oh my gosh, like this really makes a big difference. So that's where, going back to my green smoothie, as I use just enough of the greens, the spinach and the mint, to give it flavor. But the majority of the calories are coming from the whole milk powder, chia seeds, which are carbs, protein, and fat. I've got some bananas in there and some pineapple to kind of give it a punch, but those are just enough to give flavor. They're not really where the nutrition is coming from. So that's how I'm able to do it.